You know, growing up, I watched my dad give graduation speeches pretty much every other year. He's a very popular teacher and a fantastic speaker, and I always thought, that'd be pretty cool, so I decided I'm going to do one of my own. So here it is for the class of 2020. Well, first, here's what it's not. Oh, the poor, poor class of 2020, it's just not fair. They were robbed of their senior year, robbed of graduation, the sports, the parties, the prom. Poor, poor 2020. Now look, y'all, I know this isn't the norm, but you guys aren't the norm. You're 2020. Whether high school, trade school, military, college, it's the start of a new decade. You're the future. And I know none of you would have picked this, but in all fairness, none of you would have wanted the norm either. This commencement isn't going to be about finding the silver lining when stuff is bad. It's not that one. It is going to point out, however, why I think the last few months of your senior year bonds you together with millions of other kids and young adults forever. It will point out why adaptation is your specialty. This commencement covers why your graduating class has the chops to take on a modern era of business, the modern era of worldwide production. If you're a senior right now, the new modern version of college and trade and work. Because things have changed. It will also explain why I believe your generation, specifically this graduating class, is going to be the best at this that the world has ever seen. First of all, just as a class, you guys have a shared experience unlike anything we've ever seen before. Now, 2021 and future graduating classes will, of course, be special in their own way. However, no one will have gone through this quite the same way you have. If the virus or another like it was to hit next year, you'd still be the first. It's you. Your class will be remembered throughout history. So even if it's 20 years from now and you're sitting for an interview and the person across the desk asks you, hey, what year did you graduate? When you say 2020, it means something, with exponentially more meaning if the person interviewing you also graduated from 2020. Because despite YouTube videos and blog articles, podcasts, and documentaries discussed by adults like me, a generation removed from you, nobody knows exactly what it feels like unless they went through it the same way at the same time in their lives. And you all know, significantly more than any other generation, the world is much smaller. The connections that you have to the graduating class of 2020 from different states and other countries is much more prevalent than it was just a few years ago. Your social media friends are not simply the people you see in the hallways between classes. Many of them you'll never meet, and most likely you never will. That's normal for you. But that's not how my social media is, and it's certainly not how my parents' accounts are. I think your graduating class just got a shotgun approach to social values as well. For example, one of the most important aspects in my life, probably the biggest reason I made the career choices I did, was because it's allowed me time to travel with my family, which is my biggest social value. And that social value changed overnight. There's not a lot of family travel happening right now, I'm sure you've noticed. And the trips I did have for the summer, they're worthless. They've been canceled. Now I'm in front of high school and college seniors a lot, and I'll never forget what it felt like to be myself at your age. I remember what was important, even though those values have changed throughout the years. It bothers me when I hear parents who are my age say to their kids at high school and prom and graduation, the dorm life, the college sports, that they're not important, because they are, and they were for them. I also went through a stage where money was my top value. I thought it would get me anything and everything I wanted. And many of you may also feel that way, and let me tell you, that's not wrong. But I do feel for most people in life, there will come a time when other life modalities, things other than money, are going to make up your primary value, because experiences in life changes us. I have a wall hanging at my house and it says, often the greatest things in life aren't actually things at all. So maybe as a senior, like a lot of us on the planet, you saw your values do a complete cartwheel over the last 2 months, and now you realize that your most important values no longer even make your top 10 list. Conversely, there are things that now play a larger role in your life, maybe even the largest. Now, I'm not going to tell you what values matter the most. That's for you to figure out and adapt with. It's different for everyone. What I want to tell you, though, is that going through an experience where we're all forced to reshuffle and shuffle what holds real value in our life is an amazing experience that many adults my age never even realize they can do. So just take a few minutes tonight. Think about what is truly important to you. What are your values? And I want to be the first to tell you, you do not need to know where you're going to end up in life or what you are going to do for the rest of your life right now at this point. During my lectures, I often tell my seniors to imagine themselves standing in the middle of a giant life compass, as in like NASCAR track, gigantic. The headings, the north, south, east, and west, those are your lifetime goals, the achievements, your life, career, family, that kind of stuff. And they're way out there on the horizon. In fact, you may not even be able to see them. Your path is unclear. There's no road to point your way and no guide telling you where to go. Or even do you know what adventures you're going to encounter along the way. Your path will be wavy, and there's going to be direction changes from time to time, and that's okay. As you travel along this life compass, virtually no one has a direct line. There is no right path, but it sure can be comforting to at least feel like you're taking a step in the right direction. And by knowing your inner values and what makes you happy in a general idea rather than specifics, it helps. It gives you those first initial steps. The reason having a broad direction rather than a clear path is so important for you, the class of 2020, is because much of what you'll encounter out there in the following decade isn't even invented yet. You are a part of the innovation and adaptation needed to make these change careers. Understanding your path is windy and that there's no penalty for changing direction is a huge advantage over the people that cannot adapt to change. And you guys obviously adapt to change very well. So how do you handle adversity and challenge? Because these are typical interview questions you're going to get while applying for any job. I don't care if it's for the largest Wall Street money management corporation or for flipping burgers and washing windows. It's typical. But how about these questions in today's world with your new experiences? How about these questions with this little caveat? How do you handle adversity and challenges, or getting to do whatever you want whenever you want, or making life work despite social distancing and, oh yeah, during a worldwide pandemic and planetary economic collapse? Do you know who has been asked these questions in an interview situation? Nobody, ever. Like I've said before, you guys are the first graduating class with this particular experience. It's not some new, crazy, life-altering deal for you. It's just the reality of your senior year. Is it uncomfortable at times? Yes. Is it challenging? No doubt. But I keep hearing my clients in my office say, I just can't wait till it all goes back to normal. And I notice I don't hear you guys saying this. You guys are just adapting. You know that this changes stuff. Real changes, and although it won't be like this forever, the old normal is gone. It's just not a bunch of kids sitting waiting around for normal to return. You just go on. You took the punch on the chin and you got back up and you went to work. And because of your skill set and experience with modern technology, as well as a pretty realistic grasp of a modern and cutting edge world, you didn't just handle it, you own it. For a huge number of people over the past 2 or 3 generations, you are the first to take on a challenge like this. You're the first to have experience with anything this big, and that's powerful. The people out there hiring for you and looking for you, they want experience, because experiences are powerful. You learn from them. You adapt because of them. You innovate, invent, modify, and learn. Your class gets to do it first, and that counts for something. You, the class of 2020, have been tasked with being self-reliable more than any graduating class prior to World War II, and that counts. I first heard of a term called accelerated learning when I was telling, all right, let's get real, when I was yelling at my oldest son, get off YouTube already. Get off YouTube, he said. Dad, I'm not screwing around over here. I'm accelerated learning. In this case, he was learning from Ninja, who was teaching him how to smoke everyone on Fortnite. He was learning how to dominate that game at a significantly faster level than what I was doing by playing it over and over again, trial and error style. There is no trial and error time for you guys. You don't have time to waste on that. You guys have grown up in an era of unprecedented information. Now, I'm not dead. I'm right here. I can use YouTube and Google and social media to learn things as well, but not even close to the way you guys can. In fact, for most people older than you, trying to complete 2 to 3 tasks at the same time is a damn near impossibility. Your generation, though, can listen to music, read a book, watch a YouTube video explaining something in depth at a way faster rate than I learned in school, all while texting your friends and playing a game. You guys have like 15 open windows on your computer. And I like to think I'm pretty smart, but I can't handle and process the way you guys can. When your parents ask you to fix their phone, that means something. That's valuable. A ton of the world has been forced into getting very good at this stuff over the last couple months. We've had to do homeschooling and teach our kids on multiple different software platforms. I mean, even my mom and dad have got very good at running their iPhones out of necessity. Overnight, the entire world, the majority of businesses as well as universities went online because they absolutely had to. The planet just got thrust into accelerated learning. I mean, just check out even basic stats for like YouTube and Zoom and it shows this. And your generation has already been doing this for years. It's nothing new. It's what you were born into. Your generation ruled accelerated learning, but now you guys don't rule it. You dominate this. Many of you even taught your teachers and parents how to get up to speed in the last 2 months. Your class, the class of 2020, has an incredible need that has to be filled on a planetary level that you've been tailored and groomed for since your birth. You are the future leaders, decision makers, workers, tradesmen, business owners, military, associates, and teachers. The forward-thinking, future-based, inventing, decision-making generation. It's time for you to take your passion, your wishes, your experiences, and your knowledge, together blended with the super ability to process, change, adapt, and overcome, to the world. So sorry about graduation. I know it isn't the gowns and throwing square hats in the air, but that's not really what it's all about. I think you guys already know what it's all about, and the rest of us are just waiting to find out. So cheers to 2020. I cannot wait to see what you guys do next.